ways at the end of the month, and that allows you to overcome the bullies. Because that bully is from the inside, or the bullies are on the outside.
Right.
So you're not being bullied.
Okay.
All right.
So I love that. What a nice way to end the month.
Yes, absolutely.
On an up note.
All right.
So let's see what our little bulls are up to.
I am putting white light
For
into the cards, and for you out there,
July.
Taurus.
And thankfully,
Oh,
Mercury is out of retrograde.
Mercury's out of retrograde.
And that may be why the month started so rocky. And ended on such a high note, right? So let's see where that strength
So
takes
you
Taurus.
see me shuffling. All right. Put the cards down, and we're ready. Go ahead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm turning the cards. Okay.
She's turning.
All right, so in the first position, what do we have? Oh my gosh, there it goes again. Over partying, over drinking, over. It's the Three of Cups. I like to call this the girls' night out card.
Yeah.
So this.
The whole month.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of some sort.
And getting together and
collaborating.
Celebrating.
In a collaborative.
In a much more fun collaborative way than the Three of Pentacles.
But you find that you see, every time I look, as I say, I see something different. You see the different color robes the women are in. One's in red, one's in yellow, one's in white. So these energies are one of passion, and the other one of intellect, and the other one of just pure spirit.
So it takes all kinds. All kinds of personalities.
Takes all kinds of, and the weaving together of these elements in yourself to bring about a sense of celebration, a sense of accomplishment. You're toasting. You're toasting something.
It's like Toastmasters.
Which
is interesting because Toastmasters is all about like learning how to put yourself out there and actually present yourself.
Right, to present yourself. And
present what it is that, you have to say without verbal crutches. You know? That's a verbal crutch. I just said one.
Yes, you did.
Which we're not allowed to say,
We're not allowed to say
on virtual tarot. But that is a verbal crutch.
We try. You'll notice it if you listen to it for the word, in someone's speech, you'll hear it every other word or every other sentence.
You will.
You will.
You know. So,
Yes.
it's a great way to open the month. You're out there celebrating with your girls.
Or celebrating something. This is an accomplishment. You feel victorious. You feel celebratory. You feel like there is an occasion.
And that's great because that is an occasion card.
It could be a wedding. It could be just graduation.
But it opens, July is midsummer, so that's all kind of done. But
and
by July, you're probably toasting the summer.
Yes.
Just enjoying yourself.
The barbecue and wine.
With your friends. Okay, so your challenges, and she's laughing, the tower. Okay, and this is, okay. Well, so.
What a juxtaposition.
It is. So, but it's okay because your challenge is to allow something that really was not structurally sound anyway. Often this is ego, sometimes it's a project, but your challenge is to just sort of let it blow itself up and sort of sweep away that debris and start anew.
So if there's some sort of foundation on which you have built an edifice of some sort, you have to recognize that you may have been ignoring the fact that there were huge flaws, cracks in this edifice. And instead of ignoring it, recognize it and let it dissolve, let it collapse, let it go.
And interestingly enough, there's lightning here, and I said again, sorry. There's lightning here, and there are all these folks jumping out of this tower, And we're hitting the summer, and there are storms in the summer, and this could be really as simple as a storm
Well,
that blows away, you know, something in your pool area, or, I mean, it could literally be a storm, but actually it normally means that something is going to sort of blow up.
well, or that your challenge is that it has done so, and
Well, it's in the upright.
it's in the upright, well still, but in the upright, that you need to let
It happen. There you
Hold on to an edifice.
Mhm.
Don't hold on to a structure that you've been used to. And,
Right.
and because you're used to it, you feel comfortable in it, regardless of whether the heat doesn't work, or the air conditioning doesn't work,
Right.
or many factors in this.
There are holes in the
There's
roof.
holes in the roof. Whether that's your house, or whether that's your relationship, whether that's your job, your career, whatever it is, you need to let it naturally go. And
What else can be said about that?
unexpectedly, Five of
So then, yes, unexpectedly. So in the position of the unexpected, we have the card of the hapless and homeless. I could like to call it the bag lady card. And so if you look at this card, it's sort of this poverty of spirit card. And the Five of Pentacles, you can see there's this woman who's looking down, and she looks pretty distraught. And then we've got also a cripple boy behind her, and then there's a church in the background. And so after the Tower, it looks as if there's this concern over being taken care of, or being able to take care of yourself. From a practical standpoint, there's a fear element here in this reading.
strange juxtaposition, because it's in complete opposition to the Three of Cups.
There is a fear element here, right?
Yes, and unexpectedly, maybe all it's saying is that you need to ask for help. There needs to be a reaching out for help, because that comes right before the Six of Pentacles, which is where they actually reach out and,
Yes.
and get help.
That's true.
So it's sort of the card where you realize that
You're gonna need help.
you're going to need help.
Yes, and coming
Yeah.
after this Tower, that kind of makes
so
sense.
something you're going to need help with, and so you have to humble yourself, basically, because it's the card of a deep humility. So perhaps you placed yourself in a position, or somebody else needs help.
It feels like you placed yourself in a position where you're feeling as if you're having to do without.
Maybe it isn't them, but it could be them too. Yes, you're right. It could be them, or it could be somebody else.
And that you're seeing celebration, you're seeing this sort of frivolity going on at the same time. So there's sort of this
Oh yeah, because these
dichotomy going
right,
on.
This is going on, right? It's almost as if there's a party going on,
which is why there's this
and your challenge
need
is to
let go of your
recognize.
ego.
Yeah, to recognize the problem. Recognize that maybe the celebration is built on
Sinking sand.
on somebody else's problems, or maybe you're using other people to get. What's the word?
I'm not sure.
We're fiddling while Rome is burning.
Well, it almost
In the
it
sense,
almost
you know?
feels that way, as if you're playing the violin as the ship's going down.
Right,
You know, like
right.
the Titanic.
Right. So you're just sort of blithely in this mood. Well, I don't really mind. I'm just going to party, and I'm going to ignore the actual situation that's underneath me.
Right.
And so let's see how it ends, because this is. Oh, look at and then you
They get this card a lot.
You do.
Yeah, Taurus does. Rising to the occasion. We have judgment.
Wow.
And so you know better.
You know better, right?
So you know that this is going on, and you know you need to do something different and better, and because you know you are better, than this. Which, to me, I think when you see judgment and you see the fact that you are in tune and in touch with your higher self, and we all do resonate, hopefully, with our higher selves, not our lower selves. This card would say you're paying attention to that at the end of the month.
Maybe that card that precedes it is
resurrection.
Is the way that your attention is turned towards that inner calling of yours.
And sometimes we have to let it all go.
Yes, we have to release, we have to relinquish what we think is supporting us in order to find out that really maybe we need help, or maybe we need internal spiritual realignment to the internal laws of the universe, the spiritual laws of the universe, because at the end you do in fact hear that calling. You listen. You are called out of confinement, out of what is confining you, what's holding you back. And so these two inner cards are flanked by two extraordinary.
Well, there's revelry. In the opening of the month, the environment is a revelry. And then you are challenged with letting go of this
false structure.
Yes.
And then
that you've sort of built your life upon.
Or a portion of your life, if not
your
whole
hopes
life,
and dreams.
Whatever it was. And then unexpectedly you feel a certain sense of loss and fear
of not being able to get back to where you thought you were, which was never actually real.
Exactly. Or maybe someone else's need is presented to you suddenly. Somebody else needs you.
Or you could really begin to reevaluate your personal faith, spiritual path. You may feel called to go back to a foundation that is more traditional. A religious foundation is what I'm saying, because there's a church in the background. So there is sanctuary.
Right.
And you just have to accept.
Spirit is calling you.
The sanctuary.
This month.
Yes.
Right. Spirit is calling them. And spirit meaning that you're higher principled, and the knowledge you have inside of what you really ought to be doing.
It's almost as if the spirit is saying, come in out of the cold.
Right.
And heed your higher self.
Yes.
But not only that, but it's like it's almost a godly sort of, get back to your core spiritual.
Right. There's certainly a loss of ego.
Loss of ego, because your core has been taken down.
Right. So you lose a sense of
who you are, even.
Yes, or your foundation has been rocked, shall we say, and in that your inner sense of security is also rocked. And at the end, what that does is it liberates you from those confines that you were not serving you at all. Not really.
Right.
Not your true calling.
And it leaves you in a great place to make better decisions.
And so your judgment, your sense of knowing what is right and wrong for you, returns at the end of the month.
It's almost an epiphany. This whole
something
traumatic situation becomes in the end
the
apostolic almost. It's like an epiphany.
An epiphany, or
you learn something when this happens, I think.
It's like the book of Revelation.
You learn how to live up to a higher standard.
Right. You listen to your higher self as opposed to your lower self, which means that you act according to the best possible behaviors for the situation that you happen to find yourself in.
Because this is the minor
Because you have a
arcana.
choice, yeah.
This is the minor arcana devil card.
Well,
it is, so we call that the Three of Cups. It's the sex, drugs, rock and roll on a benign sort of.
Right.
It's not the devil, but it is, sort of that kind of thing. But moving past that into this higher spiritual calling,
right.
this awakening. It's almost an awakening,
Right. So there's some sort of unexpectedness in this month. In the middle of the month, you have this rather sudden, because the Tower is sudden events. The Five is off balance.
Something
You've lost
rocks,
your sense of security.
something rocks your world.
Something does, and if it's not, material things, it's emotional, relationship sort of things. And that world of yours is rocked, and at the end you have some deep insight into the situation.
Well, and it could also even be, having to find a new home or being sort of kicked out of a comfortable situation. And you find yourself having to sort of reevaluate your friends and your, the people who are your support network.
That might be.
It is quite the reading.
All right.
So let's tell you about our council card. Click below and get a council card, Higher Spiritual Council.
Yeah.
On this 4-card spread, Taurus. And if you would like a private reading, we do offer private readings on our website. So please go there and please be patient. We also offer a 24-hour, if you need it quicker, a 24-hour reading, which is called our emergency reading. So feel free to check that out. We have a lot of other readings, but